From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
The quiet of this Butte neighborhood was disturbed by gunshots when a car theft went bad. I'll tell you the dramatic details coming up.
And Montana's about to get its first medical school. Where it's headed and what that means, also coming up.
Well, good morning here. It is 6:29. You are watching Montana This Morning, and it is Wednesday. We've made it that far, and so has the snow. It seems like we've just had a couple of weeks of just Mother Nature just won't let up.
Yeah, it's February. That's kind of
right.
Right?
Yeah, it's crazy. And really, the snow's going to continue to come in as you go through March and April. Those are some of our snowiest months here, at least most productive. Watch the roadways early this morning. Temperatures into the teens and 20s to start the day. Mainly dealing with light snow for the morning. The afternoon is bringing some sunshine, so the morning really has the biggest effect as far as snow on the ground, snow and ice, slick conditions with temperatures into the 20s. You can see Butte again covered with a little bit of snow early on in the day. Heaviest snow coming in through the morning and then clearing for the afternoon. We'll talk more about our impacts, including road conditions, coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Matt. It is now 6:30. Some people in a quiet Butte neighborhood banded together to put an end to an attempted car theft.
MTN's John Amy tells us that it quickly turned violent with gunshots fired. Well, John tells us that suspect Harrison is also facing felony counts of assault with a weapon, robbery, and motor vehicle theft. He remains in jail.
In other headlines, Montana State University Police Department's Detective Amy Ross received the Officer of the Year Award from the Montana Association of Chiefs of Police. Detective Ross, a member of the local Special Victims Unit, which consists of officers from the University Police Department, Bozeman Police Department, and other Gallatin County agencies. Ross nominated and recognized for the work she's accomplished in the community, including 39 forensic interviews, as well as being the lead investigator for 58 felony cases, 35 of those involving juveniles. Now, Detective Ross works primarily investigating child sex crimes and says while the work can be very difficult, she feels privileged to be able to support victims during their darkest times.
It's often the worst day of their lives that I am walking with them through until we get to something better. And I get to take people who have had the worst experience probably they've ever had and help them get restored to wholeness, whatever that looks like for them. So that might just be counseling. That might be a criminal investigation. That might be a combination of things. But I get to work with people take them from the worst point to a healthy point.
Now, Ross began working at Montana State University Police Department when she was actually in college working as a student security.
Well, Rocky Vista University plans to build a 135,000 square foot medical school in Billings.
MTN's Andrea Lutz has the details on what prospective students can expect and what it means.
This 12-acre parcel will serve as the footprint for Montana's first medical school. As Rocky Vista University announces, it's coming to Billings.
The proposed 4-year privately funded medical school will offer students a Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine degree, and after accreditation, could break ground in May.
There's 4 states in the United States that does not have its own medical school. That's Alaska, Wyoming, Montana, and Delaware. And we want to support and help the same mission, which is producing more physicians for this region.
Officials with RVU say Montana was a natural fit because of an already qualified healthcare system.
There may only be 100,000 people that live here, but this wonderful healthcare system you've developed, this medical mile, serves over 600,000 people throughout the region. What it's missing is a medical school.
And the potential economic impact is huge, set to bring in millions of dollars to the community, along with over 300 jobs.
Think of the world-class healthcare and investment that's already been made in our community from Billings Clinic and St. Vincent Healthcare and Riverstone Health and others. marrying that investment that is foundational to our economy and the work that we already do, and was foundational to how we have been responding to the pandemic.
And the medical school will use the partnership of Billings Clinic, St. Vincent Healthcare, and Riverstone Health to further engage students in their studies.
Rocky Vista University was founded in 2006, and Montana will be its third state behind Colorado and Utah. In Billings, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.
6:35 now. In other headlines, Montana Senate has endorsed 3 key pieces of Governor Greg Gianforte's tax cut plan. On mostly party line votes with Republicans in favor, the state Senate gave debate stage approval to 3 bills that are key elements of Gianforte's plans to cut some state income taxes. One bill would cut the state's top marginal income tax rate from 6.9% to 6.75%. The other 2 set the stage for future income tax reductions if certain economic or business targets are met. One of them would give income tax exemptions to the founders and some employees who start and run successful businesses in Montana for 5 years. Democrats argued the tax cuts are targeted at those who need them the least and will reduce state revenue while not leading to an economic resurgence. The income tax rate cut would cost the state about $30 million a year. That bill will face a final vote in the Senate today before proceeding to the House for consideration.
Well, meantime, a bill that seeks to delay the start of Montana's recreational marijuana program for 1 year is working its way through the state legislature.
Yeah, the owners of medical marijuana dispensary businesses in the state say they stand to lose millions if the delay goes through. MTN's Mitch Loggy has more.
In November last year, Montana voters passed initiatives to bring recreational marijuana to the state in a program that was supposed to begin in January 2022. A bill introduced to the state legislature last week by Republican State Representative Bill Mercer of Billings seeks to delay the start of the program by 1 year, citing the need for more time to implement the recreational program that needs 100 employees. If Montana's recreational marijuana program gets pushed back 1 year, the owners of Montana Advanced Caregivers, a medical dispensary in Billings, say that the state stands to lose millions of dollars in tax revenue.
It would be foolish for the state to not make that investment now, before other people start supplying the people with this market that's been created.
An economic study done by the University of Montana last year found the state could bring in $43 million in tax revenue in 2022 with recreational marijuana. And the state is already profiting off of pot through the medical marijuana program. Montana Advanced Caregivers have been supplying medical patients with marijuana products since 2008, and its owners hope to expand into the recreational market.
We've made product and we're ramped up for it. We've built more facilities. We're creating more products as we speak. We're building more locations. We have 3 locations, and we're building our 4th right now.
When voters approved the recreational marijuana initiatives, it made the substance legal to possess in small amounts. Smith said delaying the licensure of recreational marijuana shops will just drive the market underground. In the state legislature this session, there have thus far been 8 bills introduced to amend the state's recreational marijuana laws in some way. Reporting in Billings, Mitch Laggy, MTN News.
6:38, coming back to this again. Some people in a quiet Butte neighborhood banded together to put an end to an attempted car theft.
MTN's John Amy tells us that it quickly turned violent with gunshots fired.
Brandon Shaw and his wife were getting their kids ready for school like any typical Tuesday morning in their quiet Butte neighborhood. But on this morning, the sound of gunfire came from outside.
And, it was 3 fast shots. It wasn't a shot and then a shot and then it was boom, 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 pop, pop, pop.
Shaw got his gun and ran outside to find his neighbor and his neighbor's 66-year-old father struggling with a man accused of firing the shots. Officers arrested Dylan Harrison on several charges, including attempted deliberate homicide in connection with shooting the 66-year-old man in the hand. Police allege the victim was shot when he attempted to stop Harrison from entering his son's car that was left running on the road. At that point, the victim's son came out and disarmed the gunman by wrestling him to the ground. And that's when Shaw came out of his house and held the suspect at gunpoint until police arrived. The situation was disturbing for everyone involved.
That's the part that's most sickening. I mean, I'm glad everybody's okay. But, you know, all of us in that neighborhood right there, we all have kids, you know, ages 3 to 7, 8 years old, and they play outside together all the time, and you never have to worry about it. You know, it was a shocking thing to see that happen right there like that.
The victim was treated and released for his injuries. The sheriff said this was a very fortunate outcome for a situation that could have been much worse.
We're very fortunate that no one was killed or injured more seriously in this incident, and we're thankful for that.
In Butte, John Amy, MTN News.
Thank you, John. 6:40, we're going to shift to something a little more exciting to take a look at that. Take a look at this video here out of Montana. 3 young mountain lions running along the road. This was northeast of White Sulphur Springs. Now hop over a guardrail at some point, run down the hillside. These pictures courtesy of Jay Kinsey, who was driving, saw some deer that had been hit on the highway last Thursday. Noticed some crows and eagles were picking up the roadkill. Look at that, that's just awesome. Then he saw the big cats. Kinsey was able to get the pictures, show his wife and daughter, and then they shared them with us here at MTN. As Jay put it, it was definitely not something a guy comes across every day, to say the least. It's
That's
not something
amazing. I love that
Super
video.
cool. I loved it too.
Very cool. Well, something else very cool. Maybe you saw it. There was a secret message spelled out on the parachute of the Perseverance rover that landed on Mars this week. The message could be seen in NASA video. After the break, find out what it said.